Bro, I got this mean ass glow on my face. I'm hoping that it doesn't ruin the video.
Perfect.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Miguel Dwayne, and I'm back with another video. If you're new and you're tuning in to the channel for the first time, welcome. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. As y'all can see, I got another one of my quarantine looks. Still got the facial hair going messy, and of course my hair that looks completely atrocious. I gotta cover it up any way I can. So I got this hat on right here, but that's how that goes. So, as most of us should know, tonight ESPN is premiering a brand new docuseries called The Last Dance, which is about the Chicago Bulls' last championship run during the 1997-1998 season. If you're one of those people that didn't know about this, you either don't watch basketball, you've been living under a rock, or you're just slow as hell. It's gonna be a 10-part docuseries, so this is gonna be a long, interesting story to watch. Every Sunday they play 2 episodes, so tonight is gonna be the first 2 episodes, and then next Sunday is gonna be the next 2 episodes, and it's just gonna keep going until the whole docuseries is finished. The reason why I bring up that docuseries is because for this video, I'm gonna talk about all of the shoes that Jordan wore throughout that entire season. But before I do that, I gotta give a shout out to Sneaker News because I actually got this idea from them. I saw on their Instagram that they made multiple posts about these shoes, and they have a lot more information about those shoes on their website. I just thought it was cool to just turn it into a video. Not only that, out of all the shoes that's going to be on this list, I have at least 3 of them. So once I get to those shoes, I'm gonna actually show y'all which ones I'm talking about. A lot of you OGs should know because if y'all watch Jordan, you know what was on his feet. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Every shoe that Jordan wore throughout the 97-98 championship season. Starting with the first shoe that I'm presenting, I don't know if this is the first shoe that he put on his feet for that season, but we have the Air Jordan 13 Chicago, aka Cherry, aka whatever other name this may have that I don't know about. I've mentioned before that this is like top 5 in my collection, one of my most favorite shoes, and probably one of my best shoes that I actually kept dead stock. These were one of the shoes that Jordan wore throughout the entire 97-98 season. As we all should know that the Air Jordan 13 debuted in 97, so of course throughout this particular season Jordan would wear a brand new silhouette. All of the OGs remember this shoe, and throughout this previous retro releases, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have this shoe already, and the last time these released was back in 2017 during the All-Star weekend. This shoe did sit hard. However, a lot of shoes were sitting hard that year. No matter if you got them in stores or at the outlets, if you wanted this shoe, you got them. Another shoe that Jordan had on his feet throughout that season were the Air Jordan 13 He Got Game. Another iconic shoe, another one of my favorites that's in my collection that I actually kept dead stock. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that this shoe didn't really have as much hype on it just from Jordan wearing it on his feet alone. It actually got more popular after it made its first appearance on Spike Lee's movie He Got Game, starring Denzel Washington and Ray Allen, hence why this shoe got its name. You can tell they tried to mix it up with this shoe because you can barely see any red on here unless you look at the red Jumpman on the tongue and if you look at the red on the bottom sole. However, it does kind of make sense because the white and red weren't the only colors on the Bulls uniform. There was white, red, and black, and if you remember their alternate jerseys, not saying that this was supposed to be for their alternate jerseys, they had the dominant color was mainly black and then there was red. But if you look at the red lettering and the red numbers, it was always outlined in white, almost like how this is, but a little different. Plus, during that time, majority of the basketball shoes had colorways of white and black anyway, so it kind of works out fine. Let's move on to the next shoe. Now, another shoe that made its appearance throughout this particular season, Jordan actually wore throughout the playoffs, and that is the Air Jordan 13 Bread. Once again, another iconic shoe that Jordan wore on his feet. And with me personally, this is one of my favorite shoes. As y'all can see, I dogged the mess out of them. I mean, I can clean them to make them look good again. However, I mean, I wear my shoes, so this is one of the shoes that I didn't keep dead stock, as y'all can already see. Now, what made this shoe so iconic? Not because of the colorway itself, because any Bread Jordan colorway is iconic itself with that name alone, but he also had 3M as the material for this shoe. The light can kind of sort of pick up the 3M unless I just flash it or whatever. This was another shoe that made a comeback back in 2017. This was a mass-produced release that kind of sat on shelves for like maybe 2 months, and it also led people to believe that Jordans were dead that year. Obviously, I didn't cop this shoe for the hype. I copped it because 1, I like the bread colorway, and 2, 13s. I just love 13s. I've said it before in previous videos. When these hit the scene for the first time that season, I'm pretty sure people were actually going crazy over them. When they make their first release, people were actually grabbing them, and I'm pretty sure a lot of OGs probably have the first release, if not maybe the next 2 releases after that. But hey, I'm happy to say that I got this shoe on this recent release. I'm glad to have it in the collection, and as y'all already see, it has been worn numerous times. Let's go on to the next shoe. Now, the rest of the shoes on this list, I don't own any of these pairs, don't have them in my collection. I wish I did, but sadly, I do not. But we're still gonna talk about them, and we're gonna move forward to another Air Jordan 13, which are the Air Jordan 13 playoffs. Now, I feel some type of way about this shoe personally. I like it, but the only problem that I have is that Jordan Brand told us back in 2017 again that these were going to release along with the Bred 13s, but it turns out that it either didn't release at all or it released in another country, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I was actually looking forward to that shoe that year. The reason why I like this shoe so much is not because of the colorway. As y'all can see, it has a lot of Chicago Bulls colorway mixed into one, with black being the dominant color. Jordan debuted this shoe during the 1998 All-Star Game. Now, besides all the OGs out there, anybody who's a fan of basketball, anybody who's a fan of MJ, anybody who's a fan of Kobe know about this game. Even though there were other great players and great all-stars in that game, this one mainly focused on Kobe versus MJ. It showcased their entire battle. That's what stood out the most. The teacher versus the student. And everybody knows Kobe showed out that game. Being somebody who was on the bench during his regular season, got voted into the All-Star game, and he made history becoming the youngest ever to be selected in the All-Star game as well. All of that is the reason why I connect with this shoe so much. Kobe's my favorite player, and the 98 All-Star game will be one of the greatest games in All-Star history. But the sad reality is, we don't know when this shoe is going to have another release. I was hoping that it would release sometime this year, if not next year, but because nobody gave this shoe any thought, I'm just hoping that it will have another release in the future eventually. Now, this next shoe right here, we can all agree is probably one of, if not the most iconic shoes in sneaker fashion history, and that is the Air Jordan 1 Chicago. Now, we all know how we feel about this shoe. Now, bringing up this shoe is kind of interesting because this is his first shoe. This was back in 1985. Jordan hardly ever wore any of his older pairs during the 97-98 season, but this one in particular, he just wore it for his would have been last game in New York at Madison Square Garden against the New York Knicks. Now, the reason why I said would have been was because after this season, Jordan said he would retire, but of course he came back and played for the Washington Wizards for a few years, which obviously means he made a return back to the Garden. But back to the shoe, like I said, we know how historic this is. We know how iconic this shoe is. The last time this shoe released, if I'm not mistaken, was back in 2015. It had to have been early 2015 because I didn't start getting into shoes and I didn't have money to get shoes until late 2015. I wish I was in the shoe game way before that because I honestly would have had this shoe in my collection, but now I have to wait until another re-release, which I'm pretty sure isn't happening anytime soon. They told us it was supposed to happen this year, but they lied to us, or it was just a rumor. So if you want a Chicago Air Jordan 1, you're going to be paying high resale no matter where you go. But for that game and that game only during this particular season, Jordan decided to pull out an old shoe, and this was that one. Maybe because it was supposed to be his last run, so he wanted to just bring back some nostalgia and then, I don't know, just be done with it. I mean, one could guess that, but who knows. But that's it for this shoe. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this next one right here is pretty interesting, and that's the Air Jordan 13 lows. Now, the reason why I say it's interesting is because on the site they talk about 2 different Air Jordan 13 lows. However, they only show one colorway. Now, these 2 13 low PEs were never released to the public. I don't know why they've never been released. I don't think anybody knows except for MJ and Jordan Brand themselves, but he did wear both pairs throughout the playoffs. Getting into detail about the shoes, one pair okay, I'm gonna just say it. If you guys hear a noise throughout this video, of course other people are in the house, we're quarantined, so everybody's moving and I can't necessarily control that. It does piss me off because I like silence when I record my videos, but I mean, there's really nothing I can do about it. Getting into detail about the shoes, one pair actually has a Bred colorway, but a lot of people didn't really pay it any mind because they didn't know it was a low cut shoe. It was extremely similar to the mid cut, so they probably couldn't tell the difference from afar. And as for the second pair, which could be these right here, it had another black, red, and white colorway. Now, again, there's really nothing to say about these pairs because they never released, so there's really nothing to speak on except maybe ask you guys if you wish that these released, so that way we could experience having them shoes. But because they're not released, the only thing we can ask ourselves is what if? What if these shoes released? Will people hype them up and they sell out? Or will they sit on shelves and end up hitting outlets? Honestly, we'll never know because we don't have official photos of both colorways, so we can't necessarily determine off of what could have been if we've never seen it. But now let's move on to this last shoe. And the word last has a very, very significant meaning behind it. And the last shoe that Jordan wore this season, actually in the postseason, it was the Air Jordan 14 Last Shot. Once again, we have another iconic shoe that Jordan performed in one of his most iconic moments in the NBA. At the time, it was MJ's newest shoe, and he decided to debut them during Game 5 and Game 6 of the NBA Finals. And Game 6 was the game where this shoe got its name.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. Michael Jordan running on fumes with 45 points.
At the end of the game, you gotta get it out of his hands.
Then after that shot, the Bulls won the game. They win their 6th title in franchise history, and Jordan's career with the Bulls was finished. Now, the last time this shoe released, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't cop the shoe because I wasn't a big Jordan 14 fan, but looking back at it now, I should have copped the shoe so I can have another piece of Jordan history in my collection. I'm not gonna lie, the shoe did sit for a little bit, but within like a week or two, it ended up selling out. But there you guys have it, man. Those are all the shoes that Jordan wore throughout the 97-98 season during his last dance, his final season with the Chicago Bulls. And y'all feel free to write in the comments and let me know. Are y'all watching the docuseries tonight? Because I know I am. And out of this entire list, which one of these shoes were your favorite? And do you own any of these pairs, or have you owned them at some point but don't anymore? And as y'all saw, out of that entire list, I'm fortunate enough to have 3 of those shoes. Also, if you guys want to check out more detailed information about these shoes, you guys can go ahead and go on sneakernews.com. I'll actually post a link in the description as well, or you guys can just go on their Instagram and see the post that they made. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this video. Y'all make sure y'all go follow me on all my social media at Rigel Got Hops. It's going to be right here on the screen, as well as links in the description box below. And y'all please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and of course hit that notification bell so you won't miss any more of my videos. Let's all watch the docuseries tonight, man. Y'all can let me know what y'all think when y'all come back to this video as well. And with all that being said, I'm Rigel Dwayne, and I will see y'all on the next video.